Yeah, so
Right.
that brings me to another thing we had here, and we can always look back around to some of these, but let's just talk about it. What are the chances that all, 80 of these are coming to your neck of the woods, Scott? So, Jimmy, you haven't said much, but this is posted yesterday. So, Jimmy, can you tell the audience what we're looking at in this video that was posted by RJ yesterday?
Yeah, so RJ here is doing a quick drive through of their uh, essentially I would call it their delivery lot or their delivery staging lot,
Mm-hmm.
uh, just outside the factory there in Normal. Lots of white, lots of launch green, Rivian blue, um, lots of trucks ready to be sent to customers. His words to customers,
Yep.
as Scott pointed out as well before we started recording.
Per service center, how many job openings per like service center location have you seen on average? Like I know that I've looked at Nashville before, and a couple
Yeah,
others. Have you ever seen like by city, like when they have on like LinkedIn and Indeed and all that? Like how many?
yeah,
To kind of get back at Scott's question of like I don't know how many people are going to be employed here, but like I almost feel like we've had a
right.
little bit of clues there.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen anywhere from 8 to 12
Mm,
total jobs, at least posted at one time. I mean, maybe they haven't opened them all up right away, but you
yeah,
know, as the job postings have hit, um, usually no more than a dozen, unless it's California, which I mean, it's hard to weed through all the California jobs because there's over 1,000 of them.
mm,
Um, but as far as the areas that are just delivery and service, it's you know half a
yeah.
dozen to a dozen. And then there's Jacksonville actually has a job opening right now, or did. I haven't looked in a couple weeks for a mobile service technician. So, and that's a singular position
Mm, interesting.
there in Jazz.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, and out of these service centers, they're going to serve several different functions. So one is absolutely delivery, and there are delivery specialists, and then there's also the service aspect, which could be on-site service at the service centers themselves, as well as mobile service technicians that I assume would be based out of the service center, and maybe even remote locations where there's not service centers as well, right?
Mm,
So um, I really feel like there may be a bit of a template for these service centers, but at the same time, service centers in higher demand areas, I would assume, would be staffing up more and quicker than some of the service centers that are um, just kind of more strategically, geographically placed,
mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Does. Yep.
Skylar, can I ask a question? Do you know where, or maybe Jimmy knows this, do you know where the nearest service center is to Denver? Is Kansas City have a service center? Salt Lake City does.
it
So
would probably be Salt Lake, would be my off the top guess.
Yeah, so that suggests that the Denver service center is going to do some heavy lifting because there's a large swath of the country, the Midwest, and that between here and Illinois, probably maybe those are the only two service centers, um, and maybe this will cover all the way across Kansas, perhaps. I don't know.
yeah, and this is reaching back, but I believe, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that Rivian announced previously that there were going to be around 40 service centers.
Yeah, like 41, I
Cool.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've never seen that comprehensive list, I don't believe, but you have to think that that's also going to be a bit of a phased approach where they might have bigger regions to start, and as more customers and more vehicles start filling in, they may start, filling in some of the geographical gaps.
Looking at the careers page right now, there are Colorado, six positions, Colorado, Illinois, without deep dive in 245, but nothing in Kansas, nothing nothing Wyoming, nothing in those other areas of the country besides besides Colorado and Utah.
I'm wondering if you guys want to comment on this parking lot situation with the trucks there, because I noticed that, if I'm not mistaken, there are only 4 colors in this whole group. There's the El Cap, the blue, the white, and the launch green. Am I not seeing some? You guys have seen them in person, so maybe you can suss out some of those that aren't that I'm not seeing. But is there something to be made of that?
There were some forest green in there, I know, because RJ actually asked his boys what their favorite colors were that they were seeing, and I was personally disappointed that neither one of them said limestone, but that's beside the point. But no, there's definitely some forest green in there, and I know that we've seen some deliveries of the midnight black, but I don't know. It's kind of tough to tell in this video whether any of those might have been there.
But it is.
I'm still waiting to see the yellow. I haven't seen the yellow in person. It's the one that I might go with if I see it in person and like it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I'm crazy these days. I've got all kinds of crazy since I saw them in person. Now I'm interested in maybe a mix of colors. I don't know.
The yellow is the one that me and Jimmy and Kyle actually saw and drove in first.
Yeah,
and
I remember.
I am not typically a yellow guy, but it is a classy yellow. It's not too out there. It just feels rich and robust, and I liked it way more than I thought that I would.
What was the interior color of that?
Forest Edge.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Yeah, and RJ actually had a funny comment about that. They were thinking about blocking that specific combination, but an employee ordered it. So and it worked. It worked. It wasn't offensive. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Because I'm all in for the ocean coast. In fact, in some ways, the interior color is more important to me than the exterior for some reason. Maybe it's because I grew up in Arizona and I really learned to loathe dark colored things in the summer because you can't even touch them. And at least a white closer to white interior would be somewhat manageable in that situation.
Yeah.
Well, we got you got one more on Team Ocean Coast here and me, and I've kind of gone back and forth a little bit. I think I'm sticking with it at this point because of Jules, my wife. She's like, definitely like, that's the one thing she's like, oh, that's awesome. So I think I'll stick with that. But I know these other 2 yahoos are stuck on Black Mountain, whatever.
I only wish that the Ocean Coast had the different color wood paneling. I really like the wood panel, the darker colored wood panelings, but
Heck yeah, man.
not a fan of the Ocean Coast one. But hey, I'll take it.
I've done Photoshop work putting on the wood panel of the Forest Edge, and it looks great. I mean, honestly, that Forest Edge we've actually put in black as well. So make it happen.
And I would opt for that. I would opt for the medium Forest Edge wood in my Black Mountain interior.
Yep. Back to this, though, the last thing I'll say, when you ask about any kind of insight on those 4 colors, if you go back and watch our video of the plant tour, which was back in the fall, these were the 4 colors that we mentioned we saw in the plant on the actual lines. We didn't see black on the line. We didn't see any of the others. It was these 4 colors that we saw on the lines a bunch. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. This is to be continued, so please do subscribe so you don't miss the next one. In the meantime, please do join us over at rivianstories.com. This really is a phenomenal community. It's the community for true Rivian fans and owners. You'll find a ton of great interaction and information, and you can even pick yourself up a t-shirt or sweatshirt. Thanks.